Welcome back to my channel. So these are all of the blushes that I own that live in face palettes, but I've been feeling overwhelmed with the amount of blush that I have, so I thought it would be fun to go through and swatch everything side by side, like in the same formula, but also things that look like similar shades. So I thought this would be a fun opportunity to kind of get stock of my blush collection and see what colors I tend to purchase more, and if there's any room to declutter something because I like one formula more than I like the other and it's like a similar shade. I'm gonna do that just so I have some breathing room. I can go ahead and count how many I see in front of me. 6, 7, 8, 23 blushes. So that's not too bad. Well, 24, 25, I guess, if you count all of those. But oh my gosh, 25, 26. Anyway, it's too much, so we're gonna just have some fun, do some swatching, and I will tell you what I end up keeping and decluttering, and tell you my favorites, and kind of explain the formula for everyone that I have. I hope you enjoy watching. Please grab a snack or a drink or something, because this is gonna be a long one, I think. And let's get started. All right, I guess I'll just start with this Ulta Beauty 3-in-1 cheek palette. This I have in the shade California Sunset. And obviously you can tell that I love this product. I've hit pan there. I have a big dip going there and in the bronzer. But I'm just gonna swatch the blush. Baked formulas don't really swatch well. Yeah, they don't swatch well, but I actually love that blush, so. Up next is the Jaclyn Hill Bronze and Blushing Duo. The blush I have is Pink Me Up. I have to say, I actually really love this bronzer, but this blush is always just a bit too light for me and my blushy taste. You can see it's definitely lighter than my skin tone. So I don't really reach for this one very much, and if I do, it's in the winter. But I'm only keeping this really because of the bronzer, because I really like that bronzer. Okay, this is an Hourglass palette from probably 2021. Ambient Lighting Edit Sculpture. I absolutely love this one. But I will say that I only purchased it because it was like 50% off after the holidays. It was in the new year. I found it at a random Sephora for like 40 bucks. And even that is quite a bit for me, but I really have used this a lot and it seems to be worth it for that price. Now, for the $90 that you pay full price, I don't think it's worth it. You can find other travel palettes that do a great job, but may not, like, the packaging may not last as long as this one has, you know? But I didn't always get the Hourglass craze, like why everyone thought that formula was so great. Now I get it. I've always loved baked products, but in the past like 5 years, I would say I've really leaned into it more, and I've realized that it's like my favorite formula. So I really enjoy this formula and I think it is quite special. However, we're gonna get to it. The Essence Pure Nude blush, they should come out with bronzers, but their blushes are very similar to the Hourglass ones. So if you're looking for an alternative and don't necessarily need a travel palette, this is a great first step. This is my favorite. It's Mood Exposure, and then Vibrant Flush is also one I use often, but not as much as that one. So far so good. Those all look like different shades and I love all of them except for that one, as I mentioned. Let's do the Aspen Ovard Cheek and Eye Palette. There is one shade of blush in here. It's the shade Meiji Blush. Nice like mauve tone. Those look kind of similar. This is turning kind of warm when I put it on. Doesn't look as mauve now. This is a Laura Geller Trio, Blush Trio. Let's do Tropic Hues first. Then we'll do Pink Buttercream. And Sunswept. I tend to reach for this one the most, the Tropic Hues one. Pink Buttercream is growing on me. It's a bit more cool tone than I reach for these days, but for certain looks I actually enjoy it. And then this one in Sunswept is definitely a bronzer type product, like, you know, the Bare Mineral bronzers. And I don't pull for it very often. It's a bit glittery looking. I think I'm just intimidated by it, but I should just try and use it as a bronzer. That might be pretty, like a rosy bronzer. Those are all my face palette blushes, and right now I don't see any need to declutter any of them. I think if I had to pick, I would do these two, but like I said, I want to keep this one because of the bronzer, which I guess I could like take it out of the pan, but I don't know how well that would go. And then this one, the Tarte one, is kind of similar to my Ulta Beauty one, but I want to keep the entire palette intact for the Tarte one as well as the Ulta Beauty one, so I'm going to keep them all. That's really fun and really fun to look at and pretty. All right, cream products. So we all know cream blush is very, very trendy right now. I'm honestly surprised that I don't have more. I actually tend to like powder complexion products more than cream, just because the lasting power is better, and I used to have oily skin. I'm on Accutane now, so my skin is becoming more dry, so I would say I'm kind of leaning into cream products more. But most of these, because they're in my collection, that means that they do have good staying power, and if they don't, I usually just pass them along because I don't do the whole cream blush and then powder on top of it. I'll just pick one for the day and that's all. Okay, so let's get started. This is the L'Oreal Lulumi blush in the shade Glowy True Rose 630. I honestly am always unsure about this product. It almost dries too fast. I like how pigmented it is. I like that it's kind of like a highlighting blush topper, or blush lighter, I guess. But I think it just dries too fast. And then when it dries down, you really can't build it. So when the product sets down, like the first layer, and you try and build on top of it, it just removes that bottom layer and kind of removes my foundation underneath. So I was really close to decluttering this. It was in one of my chopping block videos, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. And then I reused it in that video and enjoyed it. So right now I use a dense brush to apply it, and I'm thinking maybe I need to try like my fingers or a sponge, but I don't see how sponge would go well because, like I said, it just dries too quickly. So mixing water with that kind of formula seems wrong to me. So it has nothing to do with the shade. I absolutely love the shade, and like I said, I enjoy that it's kind of shimmery, but I don't know. We'll come back to this one. This is the Nude Stick Nudies Matte Mini Size cheek all over cheek and eye lip color thing in the shade Sunkissed. I got this in a trio with an eye product and a lip product, and I love the Nudies mini sets because their big size products are too big for the size of my collection. But I love this shade, like absolutely love this shade. Can't wait to wear it in the fall. I wore it a ton during the summer. Beautiful bronze, brown, rose color, and I'm keeping that one. This is super underrated. The entire Hard Candy line I think is underrated, but this Face Off cream blush is really, really good, and it has an incredible staying power. This one is their Luminous blush in the shade Born Yesterday, and they have like a warmer toned shade in this collection, but I intentionally went for this one because I don't have like hardly anything like it in my collection. I usually pull for warmer shades. This is definitely cool toned, almost like purple, like it's kind of like Barbie pink. So I don't use this one very often, but when I want this kind of look, I definitely pull for this, and I think it's a valuable shade to have in my collection, so I'm gonna keep it. So this is the same Nude Sticks formula, the Nudies Matte, but I have it in the shade Beach Babe. Also super enjoy this one. I got it on clearance at Ulta a while ago. Another really great kind of bronzy shade, but it has more rose in it than that one. It just suits my skin tone really well, so definitely gonna keep that one. That's probably like my ideal blush shade right there. And you'll probably see a lot of that repeating when I get to other blushes. So this is a new one. This is the AF94. It's their Playdate multi-use cheek and lip color, and then the shade is Bite Back. And it's this really, really beautiful watermelon kind of color. Again, kind of unique in my collection, and it's beautiful. I would say it's more of a matte, kind of like a pillowy, almost cushiony formula. Almost like blurring matte in a way, but that makes it last really well on the cheeks. And I definitely pulled for this a lot when it was still summer when I purchased this, so I'm definitely gonna keep this one. This is the NYX Sweet Cheeks Soft Cheek Tint. I have it in the shade Bombshell. And again, this is another kind of more matte liquid formula, but I would say that these are pretty different actually. This one is more like whipped, kind of like a mousse. Also kind of matte and blurring, but more creamy, and this one is more dry. Not in a bad way, but I actually really like this one too. I'm excited to wear this in the fall again. It's a shade that I pull for a lot, and I'm definitely going to keep this one. I like the formula, and I like the applicator quite a bit. It's the e.l.f. Putty Blush. It's either Bali or Maldives. I think it's Maldives. I will link it down below. Like everything else, I'm going to link down below. This is the first cream blush that I bought, and it's the first kind of intro to red blush for me. Like neutral red, like kind of like Clinique Black Honey. This is kind of like the AF94 formula. It's like a blurring matte, kind of putty feeling, kind of like shears out a little bit, but it's buildable, and I like this specifically because this is the color that my cheeks naturally flush to. You can see it's more neutral than this one, than the NYX one. These all look kind of similar, but like, you know, they're different. They got different nuances to them. So I'm gonna keep that one. It's kind of looking gross, but I don't think it's like bad anyway. It's just from some of the product drying up on the sides. The last cream blush is actually a duo, cream and powder duo. It's from Catrice, and it's in the shade Peach Passion. This is fairly new to my collection, but it's quite beautiful actually. Although I like warm tones, I don't always pull for like a peach shade because I think they can look kind of too warm on me sometimes. But these complement each other really well. The cream shade is kind of like a soft matte cream, like it's not super emollient. And the powder is just like a good basic powder. I think they pair well together. And again, it's like if in the summer I'm craving a peach blush, like this is definitely the one I'll pull for. I've worn them together a few times, but I've also worn them separately and like just done cream or just done powder one day. But it's a good option for travel because you have both nice and handy, you know? So I'm going to keep that one too. I love that one. Okay, you see what I mean here? It gets like that. It happens like that on my hand too, because I always apply that L'Oreal one first on my hand, and then I like tap a brush into it, and for some reason the first thing that like hits my hand, that outer layer, always kind of like comes, like it stays longer than the inner part. I don't know, it's kind of, like I said, it has good staying power, but it's kind of finicky, so I don't know yet. It's one of those where like every time I try it, I'm like, maybe it'll be better this time. I just don't know if I have time for my makeup products to be that weird. I just want them to work and, you know, not give me any problems. Not cause me any worry that it's gonna look weird that day. Powder blush, my favorite category. I love powder blush, and I consider myself like a connoisseur of powder blush. I think I get such a bad rep, and people think it can look so unnatural, but it's actually the thing that I use solely in my makeup kit. I don't have any cream complexion products in my makeup kit. Powder is way faster for one, way easier to control, and depending on how you prime and set the skin, it can look incredibly natural. And major thing for special event makeup and bridal makeup is it lasts longer. Always lasts. So yes, there's definitely a special place in my heart for powder blush. So this one's gonna be hard too. All right, let's start with this Tarte blush in the shade Party. This was like it came in an Ulta kit thing, like a sample kit. So it's an extra mini size. Their blush is one of the first things that I got from my makeup kit. It's really good at staying on the cheeks, so I knew it would be a staple when I was starting out my collection. I have a big size in my makeup kit right now, and so I transferred this one to my own collection. I don't know that I'm like madly in love with this shade. I might go through my other powder products and like the cream products that kind of have this similar like rosy, bronzy vibe, and I might end up decluttering this one just because I really don't pull for it very often. That's that for now, and we're gonna have to revisit that one. Okay, next let's do the Wet n Wild blush in the shade Mellow Wine. It's their color icon blush. And from the moment I started wearing makeup, I've always had Mellow Wine in my collection. I used to really enjoy Pearlescent Pink as well, but I think they've changed that formula. Well, I guess I should say, I think they've changed the shade more, so it's a bit too light for me, and I think my preferences have just changed as well. But this is just a great kind of like neutral rose that is just a staple. And these are really pigmented, but they're also forgiving. You can see I have quite a bit of use in this. Like, I think I'm gonna hit pan soon. You can see the rings on the bottom of the product coming up. So I don't know if this necessarily brings me like an incredible amount of joy these days compared to some of my newer blushes, but like I said, that is like my ideal shade. And I'm sure there's others that are very similar that I just swatched. So at the end, we're gonna have to go through and swatch again by color category and maybe eliminate some that way. All right, an OG Benefit Dallas blush. I don't think they make this anymore, but they describe it as a rosy bronze blush. I take this when I travel pretty often because it can kind of work like a blush bronzer for me, bronzer. Whoa, I don't think I've ever swatched that before. That does not look like a blush. I know that this also got reformulated before they discontinued it, and like no one really liked it as much when it was reformulated, so I don't know which one I have. I never really had the original, so I'm thinking this was the reformulation. I do use it quite a bit. I mean, you can see there is some good, like a good dip in there, but I wouldn't say it's like my favorite because I definitely like ones that have a bit more pop to them. But yeah, let's swatch it next to this Buxom one because I'm curious the difference. So this is also a classic. This is the Buxom blush in Seychelles. I don't know. I think they still sell this. I think it might be pulled from Sephora and Ulta, but I believe they still sell it on the Buxom website. I got this at TJ Maxx and actually have really been enjoying it. You can see it's kind of like a blush lighter. Has quite a bit of iridescence to it, but it's like Dallas, but just a bit more like rose tone to it, and it's really pretty. I've been using it a lot actually, and I actually used it as a bronzer blush the other day and enjoyed it, but it is kind of shearing out to be pretty similar to Dallas. Yeah, I mean, I definitely enjoy this more because it has more of a rosy tone to it than Dallas does. I don't know. I can't decide on that right now. I think I might keep them both. This is the RMS Beauty Redimension Hydra Powder Blush in the shade Cœur Royale. And it's so pretty. I really enjoy this formula. And I bought a bronzer in this line too. I think I was trying so hard to find a good shade, and I still like this shade, but I was thinking it was going to be more red. This is definitely more pink, which is fine. Like, I still enjoy it. It has a very elegant shimmer in it, basically claiming that there's some moisture in it, and I would agree it's like probably really meant and suited for dry skin, but even when I had oily skin, I enjoyed it. And it just makes the face look very natural. It has like a natural sheen to it. So I'm not decluttering this by any stretch of the imagination. I am interested in other shades though. I kind of wish they sold like mini sizes, because there's no way I'm ever gonna get through this. And I know they're like kind of sustainable, because you can like punch out this, and if you need to replace the color cosmetic, you can like pop it out and just buy a refill. So it'd be cool if they made them in smaller sizes too. But anyway, really enjoy this. I got their bronzer because I loved the formula so much. I know I mentioned this earlier. It's the Essence Pure Nude Baked Blush. I have it in the shade Bold Heart, and I think this is the most incredible drugstore blush formula ever. It's so pretty. I will say their shade range isn't like super great. This is a more pigmented shade, which is why I purchased it. I know some of the other ones are way more light, and I obviously like a pigmented blush, so I went for one I knew would have more pigment. There is like this purple lilac one in the line that is unique, but it's not something I would really wear very much in my everyday life, so I recommend Bold Heart if you're kind of in the same blush family as me. But this is one of my favorite blushes in my collection. It's again kind of like the RMS formula, where it's baked, so it's not as like satiny and life-giving, but it definitely still has some iridescent quality to it. It's not completely matte, so it is really pretty on the skin, and I'm gonna keep this. Up next, we're gonna do the Pew Juicy Pang blush in the shade Apple. It's also called RD01, which I think is so dumb, but I bought it on Amazon, and on Amazon it's called Apple. This is like the MAC Glow Play blushes, where it's like cushiony, and it's incredible. I absolutely love this shade. Wear all the time, and I'm not gonna declutter it at all. I kind of want to buy another one. They have a more like nude version, but I am pretty good on blushes now, so I don't need to buy another one. Speaking of MAC Glow Play, I found this at TJ Maxx. It's the That's Peachy shade, which again, I don't have much peach in my collection, so I thought this would be a good outlier, I guess. I like this formula too. They're honestly so similar, it's crazy. Like, feeling that, I would not be able to tell a difference between the Juicy Pang one and the MAC one. The MAC full price, I think, is like $30, and Juicy Pang is like $10, but you can find it on sale for like $7 or $8 on Amazon sometimes. So I'm gonna keep this. Like I said, I don't really reach for peaches very often, but obviously when I want a peach, I want a peach. So this is a good addition. Oh my gosh, Clinique Black Honey. Their Cheek Pop, Blush Pop, and Black Honey is probably my all-time favorite blush. I've used up multiple of these. Oh my gosh, that is so pretty. It's like a plum red shade. It actually looks pretty similar to Mellow Wine. Like, if you mix these two, this is Mellow Wine, and then this one is the Tarte one. If you mix these two, it's pretty similar to Clinique, which is interesting. I don't know if I ever made that connection in my head. But there's no way I'm decluttering this. It's incredible. My favorite, the best formula. It kind of reminds me of the RMS formula, but like this Clinique formula has been around for years, so they did it before RMS. Last but certainly not least is this Giorgio Armani blush. It's their Luminous Silk blush in the shade Mystery. I am so thankful I was able to purchase this with one of my credit card like benefit things. They do an annual credit, and I went with a blush because obviously I'm obsessed with makeup, and this is like such a pretty plum color. Very in line with Clinique Black Honey, which is why I like it so much, but it has more purple in it. Oh my gosh. Is that like literally the same thing? Oh wow. I thought this was going to be very like out of my comfort zone, not similar to my collection, but it's like kind of really similar to Black Honey. Maybe not when you build it up, but it's just a gorgeous like plum. Let me build up Clinique more and see what happens. Oh my gosh. I wonder how it looks on camera, but dang. If I had known that, I would have gone with a different shade of the Armani one. But that's okay. Even though they're really similar, I'm not gonna declutter either of them. I actually do feel comfortable passing along the Dallas blush. It just doesn't really spark joy, and I like the Seychelles one from Buxom better. I might keep this in like a makeup memory box thing that I have, but I'm not gonna keep it in my collection for now. So I pulled out some shades that I want to see swatched together. So let's do that really quick. These are all of my peach ones. All right, yeah, not similar. So MAC can stay. This, however, is gonna be very similar to Mellow Wine, I think. Yeah. Dang. Ooh. I'm definitely torn because going into this, I was thinking about decluttering Mellow Wine, but now I'm seeing this progress and I'm like, oh, maybe I just want to Project Pan it. This one's definitely newer in my collection, the Catrice one. Let's move on and I can make a decision later. It just started raining. Hopefully you can't hear that too much, but if you can, maybe it's a bit of an ambiance. So this is the Juicy Pang one. Oh, that's not bad. Let's do it against this one. The Essence one. Yeah, pretty similar, but I love both of the formulas. And this one's a bit brighter, so I'm comfortable keeping both of those. Let's see about this one. Yeah, brighter too, so I'm comfortable keeping that one. Keep. I want to see this one swatched next to the others. See what it looks like. Okay, I'm gonna declutter this one. Obviously the major difference is the formula. This is very glowy, but I know I like this shade. I have many options that are very similar to this in formulas that I like better. So why am I keeping this one? I think it's because it was like 10 bucks, which like that's fine. I'll be okay if I waste 10 bucks. And I got some use out of it, so it's not a complete waste, but I am gonna pass this along. Maybe my mom would like this or something, but I just don't think it's worth taking up space in my collection. Okay, let's do this Tarte one next to the other Tarte one. I know they have different shade names, but I'm just curious. Oh wow, okay. This is so weird. It looks chalky, like when you first apply it, and then it kind of darkens like quite a bit. That's like a weird shade. I can't figure that out. Okay, this is very similar. This Tarte one in Parte is very similar to all of these, and I like that all of these are a bit deeper. This one's a bit ashy. So I'm gonna just declutter this one. One more time, let's swatch this one. Pretty against this cream. Pretty. Okay, that's different though. I'm okay with keeping both of those cream ones. Here is the powder, and here is Mellow Wine. Alright, I actually decided to keep all of these. I am having trouble getting rid of this one just because it's been a staple in my collection for so long. This is a newer package of it. I've had one of these shades in Mellow Wine in my collection since I owned makeup. So I'm just gonna keep them all. I know I can declutter this, and like if I really wanted to, I could go out and purchase it again, but I'm encouraged by seeing some of those lines, and I think I can actually hit pan on it and get more good use out of it. So I'm gonna keep all of these. Let me bring back in all of my other blushes. So here are all my blushes. I'm keeping all of these. All of these make me really happy. I know I'll get good use out of all of them. And they're all formulas that I enjoy. And then these are the 3 that I decided to declutter. Dallas, I'm going to put this in my memory box, my makeup memory box. This Tarte one I'll just pass along to a friend or my mom. It's like a small sample size. I just have ones that are similar in my collection that I like more. And then this one, again, it's just a bit too finicky. It never really quite worked out for me, and I have shades very similar in other formulas that I like even more. So I'm decluttering all 3 of these. I definitely wasn't ruthless in the way I decluttered, but I did really like swatching all my blushes next to each other. It gives me a better understanding of what the shades actually look like, you know, against my skin tone instead of just in their packaging, because sometimes the color of the packaging can really confuse me. Now I feel like I have more of a stock of what is in my collection, and I'm excited to use all of these again. If you love blush as much as I do, please hit the subscribe button. I hope you'll stick around for a new video coming next weekend. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!